Today we're going to be working with real clay to create our fish project. Now last time you practiced with modeling clay, and there's a lot of differences between modeling clay and this real clay that we're using today. First of all, the real clay is going to be a little bit softer, so it will be easier for you to get it into a slab shape. Now it's also going to be this gray color. Don't worry about the color, we'll be painting it later. So the first step is I'm going to flatten out my slab so that it's even on all sides. Smoothing out any cracks or rough surfaces. I want my slab to be nice and clean when I do my textures. You can flip it if you need to. And I'm just pushing with my palm and twisting around the edges. That twisting motion really helps to flatten it. Now I'm going to keep on flattening until my paper template fits onto my slab. When it fits, then you can lay it right on top, and we're going to very carefully trace around it. And as I trace, I'm going to start kind of putting all my little extra scraps in a pile. Just like this. After you have all the extra pieces cut away, you can lift off your template and put it to the side. You don't really need it anymore. Now the first step is I have to make sure that my fish looks nice and neat. These edges where we cut it out look a little bit rough. That always happens when you first cut clay. So I'm going to take my finger and kind of fix any of those rough edges that I see. And this step can kind of take you a minute, so I might kind of fix my tail if it's not quite the right shape. That's the good thing about clay, is you can just squish it into the shape that you like. So this part is really going to take us a second to fix our cut edges. When you have a nice smooth surface, you're going to start adding your textures. Now this part is going to be a little bit different from working with modeling clay, because if you want to add an extra piece of clay onto your fish, like this eyeball, last time we could just stick it on and that object would stay. However, when this clay dries out, all those little extra pieces are going to fall right off. So if you want to add an extra piece of clay, you're going to have to slip and score. Now slipping and scoring means that you take your piece that you want to stick on, and on the back you tear it up. You scratch it, scratch it, scratch it with a toothpick. Then you look at where it's going to be stuck and you scratch that area too. Then you're going to take one finger dip of water and add just a little bit of that water to both sides of the scored pieces. Make sure you don't accidentally smooth it out. Then you can wiggle your two scored places together, and that slipping and scoring will hold your object in place. Now from here, you're going to do everything that you planned last time. You're going to use your texture objects to gently add textures to your fish. So many of you practiced with different wooden tools, different plastic tools maybe, because each one of these tools, when you press it into the clay, is going to create a unique texture. Just make sure that you don't push too hard. If you go all the way through the clay, it will cut your object. Instead of adding texture, it will just start falling into pieces. So you only add texture to the very, very top layer. When your entire fish is filled with texture, you're going to very carefully flip it. You need to be gentle here because if you press on it, it could mess up your textures on the front. And we're going to use a toothpick to very carefully write our name on the back. This is a little harder than it looks. So once again, make sure you're not pushing all the way through to the other side. You're only scratching lightly on this back surface. And then your art code will go underneath your name. And gently flip your fish back over, check your textures that they're okay, and you're complete.